Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. We are now into the fall, so we probably don't have too many seasonal residents watching at this point, but maybe you watch it online, and that would be awesome. Just keep up to date with what's going on. So at the Select Board meeting last night, we actually had county commissioners. The Select Board also acts as county commissioners and Select Board. And under county commissioners, they took up the issue of Emilia Drive. Emilia Drive has been under discussion as to roadway traffic parking improvements. There's been a couple of public informational sessions about it to which neighbors and other area businesses were invited. And long story short, I hope I'm getting all of this correct, but it's online if I'm not. But basically the idea is it will remain two-way. However, the parking will be a little bit mitigated by some widening at certain areas of the road, so that, you know how parking right now, it's difficult to get through there sometimes. So the idea is to widen the road in certain areas to alleviate that. Basically.
But what about the other parts that are already?
Well, there's
You're not
not
allowed to park there, right?
You're not allowed to park there already. So that's not that. Those areas are not an issue.
So they'll put in places where people can park that's opened.
Yes, I think that is the idea.
All right.
However, this is going to cost some money that we do not currently have budgeted. So this is going to be a fiscal 21 capital request. So we are going to, it'll get into the works. If approved by town meeting, then it'll start, plans will be developed and we'll get construction underway. But we're ways off from it. But, light at the end of the tunnel. Select Board meeting, we did the following. It was Real Estate Wednesday. So our real estate specialist, Ken Bogran, went through all the real estate items. Most of them I think were fairly routine. There wasn't a lot of discussion about really any of them. We had a traffic safety recommendations. They come in once a month or every other month or so. Different recommendations like, extend a yellow line, move a parking spot, take away a parking spot. We need a curb cut here, we need a curb cut there, install an accessible parking spot, extend this section of 1 hour parking to 2 hour, that kind of thing. There was a bit of discussion about a couple of them. One of them has to do with High Street. High Street is a little street that runs between Pleasant and Pine. And some time ago, the board agreed as part of a historic bike route initiative that a former board member put forward, and the board adopted it. There was this little section just did not happen of removal of parking spots. So 3 years later, we got back to dealing with it, and it's been to the board a couple of times. And anyway, long story short, some parking spots are going to be removed from High Street and on Pleasant Street across from High Street. Okay, so there's a map in the online in the board's packet from last night, but that is what ended up happening. There was some discussion about whether or not it should be one way, and that ended up not happening. Okay, then the board talked about possibly amending its policy with respect to sewer fee waivers. Right now they have a policy that says under what conditions a sewer fees waiver would be entertained. So there's basically two sewer fees we're talking about. The connection fee, which is $2,000, and the privilege fee, which is around $6,500-ish, I believe. Maybe it's $5,800. There's so many numbers. I don't know. Oh, okay. The connection fee is just to connect your house to the sewer line. The privilege fee is because some areas were not in the capacity of the sewer treatment plant, not the capacity, in a specific needs area of the sewer treatment plant when it was initially designed, and so those properties are subject to what is called currently a privilege fee. We're in the process of redefining what that fee is, but it's around $6,500. Anyway, we routinely get requests to waive that fee, and that is why the board adopted this policy. So it's got the potential to be waived if certain conditions are met, like the house is, a deed restriction is put on it to be affordable housing. So there's a fixed income senior citizen concern about the fee. So long story short, the board said, let's figure out how to modify our policy so that we could entertain requests from certain individuals, senior citizens, fixed incomes, where the fee would be deferred. It would still get ultimately paid, but it would be deferred for a period of time. So we're going to work on the wording for that. Make sure we can close any loopholes that might come out of it. Then we talked about Newtown Road. Some citizens had come to a board meeting at the end of August to talk about traffic on that road. And they wanted to know if there could be some temporary solution now while we're hoping to get funding for improvements to Newtown Road. And in the end, the board is authorized the installation of 2 asphalt speed tables on that road. So that is going to be happening sometime soon. Next week at the board meeting, main issues of discussion are going to be the stop signs at Surfside and Bartlett. There will probably be an associated discussion about the status of the proposed roundabout planning at that intersection.
Oh.
We are hopefully going to be getting an update from our sort of newly established Coastal Resiliency Advisory Committee. And we are going to be getting a report from the Nantucket Historical Commission about Milestone Road, the road safety improvements that are currently being made on that road. They have some recommendations, so they're going to go over that with the board. Meanwhile, in other what's going on in town government news, the 2020 annual town meeting warrant opens for citizen submittals on October 3rd and closes on November 18th. Town council will be here for citizen consultation on Wednesday, October 16th from 2 to 4, and Thursday, October 17th from 9 to 11. So if you are considering a citizen warrant article, I encourage you to take advantage of the town council consultation. Also, town admin is currently working on updating our citizens guide as to how to submit a warrant article. That will be online hopefully by the end of the week. And most important of all, the 2020 annual town meeting will be taking place on Saturday, April 4th, 2020. So mark it on your calendar and clear the day.
You hearing any rumors about warrant articles, citizen warrant articles?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Numerous rumors about.
So there should be a lot. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
More than
we
others?
usually get between 20 and 30 typically.
Wow. But not all of them make it, right?
Well, not all of them make it, but around that number do make it. But not all of them make it to approval.
Oh, right. Of course.
Because sometimes they're just not, they haven't been really thought through.
Well, that's why
Sorry,
you got to have
but
town
that's
council,
it.
right?
Yeah, even then, sometimes
They're so
issues arise
outlandish.
later. Well, it's not that necessarily that it's outlandish, it's just that sometimes our structure doesn't really lend itself to whatever the person wants to do. So we're going to also...
You ever talk to them and go, look, there's no chance, there's no way this is going to pass? Do you ever discourage?
No, because then they say, oh, you just don't want me to do it because you don't feel like doing it, which is not the case.
Of course not.
But there's a much bigger perspective that I have to look at as to how your initiative would happen. And sometimes it just really reasonably cannot happen. Which is why I also encourage people to talk to someone in town admin about it before they submit it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
That's
Which would be you.
which would most likely be me or somebody near me.
Yeah.
But that's why we're updating our citizen guide. So it's hopefully going to be user-friendly and easy to read. We've looked at some other towns' citizens guides. The town of Natick has like a 45-page guide on how to do a citizen warrant article. Ours is going to be much shorter, easily readable.
All right.
What else you got?
Well, it's Thursday.
Oh, I want to make a quick
Yeah.
update about the 2020 plastics ban. Probably going to be talking about this a lot in the
Yes.
next few months. I have a little group that's been meeting with affected businesses. And we met with Stop and Shop the other day. Very good meeting. They are really gearing up to comply. And a lot of information is online about this. Well, maybe I shouldn't use the word a lot. Information that you as a business should know about the 2020 plastics ban is online. And it lists June 1st, 2020 is when it goes into effect. And it's things like plastic single-use petroleum-based water bottles of plain drinking water, not flavored, not carbonated, 1 liter or less. Non-recyclable coffee pods, straws and drink stirrers, flexible 6-pack yolks, plastic yolks, not 4-pack, not 2-pack, not 8-pack, 6
Why
only.
don't they just ban everything?
Because this was a citizens' initiative, and even if it wasn't, it turned out to be very specific items. So there may be a future amendment that would ban additional items. But for now, this was considered by the citizen petitioner to be manageable.
Okay.
And the idea is to get some manageable things dealt with and then move on to expand to other things. Anyway, we're really trying to get a lot of outreach out there. We're meeting with various groups to explain it. We've met with the real estate brokers, and we're hoping that they will put a flyer in mailings to renters.
Oh, yeah.
The boats hopefully will do something similar. The Nantucket Town Association, Rotary Club, who else have we met with? We've had 3 public informational sessions so far. We're maybe scheduling more. We have a meeting today, a lunch meeting with the clubs, Great Harbor, Nantucket Golf, Nantucket Yacht Club, all the clubs. I think they already have started working towards this.
What will happen if they show up at the landfill? I mean, what if somebody brings them to the landfill even though they're...
Well, it doesn't really have anything...
I mean...
It indirectly... It's not a matter of bringing somebody to the landfill. It's a matter of if a business is selling one of the banned items, and then enforcement will have to be considered. That's what it is.
But we don't know what that means though yet, right?
Well, we know what the enforcement provisions are in the current bylaw. It's something like a $300 per day fine, I think. I don't have the thing right in front of me right now.
Okay.
But I think our intent is not to go actively enforcing this on June 2nd.
Right.
It is to educate people and get them to achieve compliance voluntarily so that we don't have to do that. And I think most businesses, if not all, want to do the right thing. And it's just a matter of helping them do the right thing. We want to get information out there about what the alternatives are. Stop and Shop had a lot of good ideas about getting customers to know things. One of the challenge for Stop and Shop, they told us, is going to be the plastic water bottles. And they are very much interested in installing filling stations at their stores, and you would, potentially purchase a large container and you'd fill that with water and could reuse it over and over. But you'd instead of buying all individual water bottles, you'd, get this thing that you could fill up as many times as you want. It would be free. So things like that. There are alternatives to every item. And some of them are a little less convenient than others, but over time you get used to it and it becomes routine.
In the news, you're aware of, people are pretty strongly opinionated about how quickly we're going to have to start making things change.
Oh, yes.
As far as climate change, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you got this coastal resiliency, but we still haven't come up with a plan to really tackle this thing with that intensity, have we? Not yet.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, this is the first step. This is a light step, but...
You mean like for plastics and environmental?
Everything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
as a town administrator, would you be ready for drastic changes to things that might have to happen within the next 5 years? I mean, they're saying 10 years. We have a 10 years.
Yeah, I don't...
It's hard to get your head around.
I don't know where it's... yeah, it is. It is.
That's what I mean.
I have a whole lot of other stuff to do, too, as running a town.
I know. But what good is the town going to be if in 10 years, if what they say is true, and we don't do it in 10 years, if we don't actively get going immediately?
Well, I think that's one of the initiatives
this is a first step that we probably should have done 15 years ago. But what I'm saying
nobody
is
really
they're giving us a
got
10-year
it 15
spot.
years ago. Yeah.
Huh?
People didn't really get it 15 years ago.
They're still not getting it.
Nope. True. Anyway.
So
that.
Yeah,
I would say we're a town that's at the forefront in Massachusetts anyway for banning this amount of items.
Well, I thought you were going to talk about sea level rise too. I mean, that's what that coastal resilience.
But yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Right.
Related, but different.
But it's all related to.
Yeah, but
the
you'll
environment.
hear more about what our local Coastal Resiliency Advisory Committee is up to doing,
Next week,
working
right?
on next week
I'm
at the
looking
board
forward
meeting.
to that.
Okay, well,
That's it.
that's it. Thank you very much. See you next time.